This is a test of the Sony Handycam camcorder. If this were a real emergency, I sure as heck wouldn't be here. So let me tell you what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to be testing this camcorder over the next week, showing some footage from it on this channel as time permits. And I'll be testing it out as A, a vlogging camera, and B, more importantly, a camera for continued use on this channel for future unboxings, reviews, commentary, etc. The next set of videos you're going to see, or clips I should say, are going to be footage from my Nexus 5 rear-facing camera and this camcorder. Let's take a look. So first and foremost, this is as close as I can get my Nexus 5 front-facing camera. In terms of orientation, it's on a tripod and it's using the square jellyfish tripod mount. And I'm actually, it's hard to really focus where the camera is. There's a camera there. And I've got it oriented for the most part in front of my webcam to give you kind of an idea as to what this looks like from the crappy, sub 2 megapixel front-facing camera from the Nexus smartphone. So now I'm going to switch it around to the rear-facing camera and we're going to see what this looks like. Okay, I don't know how this looks. It's probably going to be off a little bit, but again, this is the smartphone at roughly the same position that I can make it, and just trying to see what this looks like in comparison to a webcam with a 2 megapixel camera and the front-facing Nexus 5 camera that has a roughly 2 megapixel camera. This rear-facing camera has an 8 megapixel shooter, and it's a higher quality lens. Okay, and now here is the Handycam in front of my webcam. It's actually about 6 inches closer to me than the actual lens on the webcam, but this is the best I can do. I'm actually looking occasionally at the LED screen here to kind of get an idea as to what it looks like. Looks pretty decent. It's like a 2.7 or so, maybe less than screen. I'm not really sure what the exact diagonal size of this screen is, the monitor or screen. But anyways, looking at the camera, I can tell that there's a microphone in front that I can tell. There is supposed to be some noise reduction built in. I guess that'll help with some ambient noises or maybe wind. Not really sure. But this is kind of an idea as to what it looks like in comparison to the Nexus 5 and the Logitech 920C webcam, or C920. And the interesting thing about this is this will actually output in 1080p at 60 frames per second, whereas the other two cameras or webcams that I use only output at 30 frames a second. And also this has a 9 point something megapixel camera, and it's supposed to be better quality, and it'll be interesting to see how the audio is. Now keep in mind, when I use my Logitech webcam, I'm also using a Blue Snowball microphone, and that actually produces better audio than the webcam itself can produce, and also better audio than what the Nexus 5 smartphone can produce. And I wonder exactly how the audio is going to sound here. The only adjustments I've made so far, and here's going to be a test. There's an airplane flying over. I wonder if you can hear it. Anyways, but this is going to be a test of the video quality of this. The only settings I've adjusted so far is I've changed it from 60 frames per second interlaced to 60 frames per second progressive, so there should be less scan lines or issues with alternating frames that interlacing does produce. And I made sure to set it for MP4 as the video file format, considering that's the best video format that I can import directly into Adobe Premiere Pro Creative Cloud. So anyways, I'm going to quit rambling here. This is enough for you to tell what this looks like, how smooth or not smooth this video is, and then I'll try this throughout today and tomorrow and the rest of the week in different circumstances. Alright, here's me using the Nexus 5 smartphone rear-facing camera for as a pretend vlogging camera. It's something I've considered using this as a vlogging camera before. Not that I tend to really focus on that, but I like it as an option. Also, I do have a fitness channel, that I've started where I'm kind of focusing more on me regaining some of the athleticism, quote, athleticism I used to have when I was younger. Anyway, that's something for another topic. So I'm actually kind of purposefully kind of swaying and moving around and shifting, so you can kind of get an idea as to what this what this is like and see what the video smoothing. Now this also has optical image stabilization for use here, so it should be relatively smooth despite me moving around a little bit. And next I'm going to shift over back to the Sony Handycam, and we'll see what that looks like. Okay, so now I've actually switched over to the Sony Handycam. This is what you're viewing from, and I'm also deliberately kind of moving and swaying just a little bit to give you an idea as to what this looks like in similar conditions that I use the Nexus 5 for. And of course it's just me sitting back after a long day of work and before a podcast that I'm about to do. If you're interested, you can always stay tuned every Tuesday evening, or nearly every Tuesday Tuesday evenings for Attack of the Androids, attackoftheandroids.com, and you can kind of see what's going on there. My daughter's kind of yelling and screaming in the background. I wonder if you can pick that out. It's her birthday today, and so she's playing with some of her presents. So I wonder if noise cancellation will cover that. You know, the Blue Snowball microphone actually does a pretty good job of cutting out or ignoring sounds that are kind of off in the distance. So I wonder how this is going to do. So I'm kind of looking off to the viewfinder a little bit, kind of seeing what this looks like. And of course I'm going to deliberately move a little bit more. But the screen here is smaller than what I can look at on the Nexus 5. You know, the Nexus 5 has a 5-inch screen, so it's a better viewfinder than the 2 inches or so on this monitor or screen. So that's kind of a downside for this, but realistically it's a camcorder, and most of them have a similarly sized display. But I can tell that you know, this is not a model that has a touchscreen, which is fine by me because I don't want to smear it up with a bunch of you know, fingerprints over time. I don't want fingerprint magnet to be associated with the screen that I'm using. But anyways, that's about it. You can kind of get an idea as to what this looks like, and if I were to use it as a vlogging camera in this capacity. And next we're going to show it. I'm just going to go against the wall over there, and we're going to set this up on a tripod, and we'll see what this looks like in that capacity, and I'll compare it to the Nexus 5 as well. Okay, you'll have to forgive me if this isn't aligned 100%. I'm basically unable to see the Nexus 5 screen because I'm using a rear-facing camera. I do have a mirror on the other side of the room, which I'm looking at to see the viewfinder way over there. See that there? That's actually one of the complications of using a smartphone as a vlogging camera and as a camera in this kind of situation, is that it's harder to capture video without the aid of someone else. So I would have to spend a little time setting up. That's something I don't want to do. Something I don't have to do as much with the Handycam, which I conveniently grabbed here. Okay, here is yet another test of this camera in a different capacity. It's not set up optimally, but I just sort of threw it together over here in front of me. And in the future, I plan on using this backdrop, maybe with some soft lighting, and for future videos. I'm also curious to see how a bright red shirt like this impacts the color warmth or automatic white balance situation of this camera. It's one of the reasons I chose this shirt, despite the fact that I wore it all day today. I basically chose not to change out of it, so I could specifically use it for this. I thought about going to a traditional gray or black design and see what the color contrast might be, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So anyways, this is what this camera looks like at approximately 5 feet away, maybe 4.5, 5 feet away. And I'm using, as usual, the built-in mic. And I'm testing this out as, you know, something I might use in the future in a similar format. I want to provide a little bit more variety on my channel in terms of what video content I produce, as well as updating the visual quality. So anyways, you can get kind of an idea as to what, you know, this camcorder looks like compared to a modest smartphone camera. I mean, it wasn't good a year ago, the camera. I mean, it wasn't bad, I mean, realistically, but it wasn't top of the line camera a year ago. And this has been out, I'd say, under a year. I can't remember exactly when this came out. I have to look that up. But my bet is that the video quality that I'm going to get on this is going to be a slight bit better than what's going to be on the Nexus 5. Not just in terms of video quality, but in terms of like frame rate, maybe smoothing, you know, better quality imagery. I don't know how the audio is going to sound at this point in time. All I've done is load a 32 gigabyte card in here for storage, one that I had laying around that I used in my old Motorola Atrix 2 a couple years ago, you know, that I stopped using when I got the Nexus 4, whatever. Anyway, so that's in here, and it's just your standard 32 gig card, high speed, class 10, whatever. And all I've done is edit a couple settings here just to make sure that it's the quality that I want it to be, as stated before in a previous clip. And that's all I've done. Everything else is full auto, you know, and I haven't even looked at the film quality yet. I have no idea what this is going to look like, you know, 1080p on a large screen. That's something I tend to put together. So I know this has been a little bit of a long, rambly video. I haven't shown nearly as much as I planned to with this camera. If you watched my previous video series where I tested out the HTC Read camera, I basically did the same thing, spent an hour or two worth of footage, you know, put together, and, you know, then concluded with a review, a rather lengthy, comprehensive review, and I intend to do the same with this. So definitely stay tuned for future videos on this. I will come out with more, and I'll have the first impressions video, which I think you'll like, and I'll have more footage throughout the week, and then up to a week later, probably 2 weeks, no earlier than 2 weeks after I initially unboxed this, I will have a full review of this camera. I know it's completely different, but this is how I want to do it. I don't get to buy tons and tons of stuff. No one's sending me stuff. I'm not sponsored by anyone. I'm not on Patreon. I haven't received a single penny. I haven't been successful enough with YouTube channel to have received a single paycheck. So whatever I'm doing here is whatever I'm doing. And, you know, it'll be successful or not, don't really care at this point. All I want to do is produce the video content that I want to. So thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.